it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi villains, welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Just wanted to get cracking really, I suppose, on scouting series / transfer stuff because it's been a pretty barren period for me. I haven't gotten an awful lot out with regards to some of the rumours that have happened over the last 2 weeks. But just wanted to get cracking. I wanted to start here as well, as I can hear that my entrance music is still playing in the background. So let's kill that entrance music. I don't know how that continued to happen in the background, but yes, just wanted to get back on the horse again with regards to some of the transfer rumors that were out there, and I wanted to come and I wanted to chat to you today about Manuel Ugarte from Sporting Clube de Portugal, and somebody that I wanted to talk an awful lot about. There's been a lot of fanfare about him during the course of this season. Last season also as well, he started to catch the eye of an awful lot of European commentators. This season, obviously, with Sporting's very, very good run in Europe, he has caught the eye even more. And it's somebody I just wanted to look at. And as always, before we go any further with regards to these scouting series and these transfer podcasts, will he sign for Aston Villa? I have not a notion. A lot of the information that's coming out is that Sporting were going to want big money for him, good money for him. Sporting have been kind of caught up today with a little bit of an investigation to do with tax avoidance and stuff like that. So I don't know what the situation is with that. It's just breaking literally 5 minutes before I came on to do this today. But will Villa sign him? I don't know. And will the money be too rich for Aston Villa? I don't know. Are Aston Villa being used as a bargaining chip with regards to Manuel Ugarte in this situation? I don't know either. So just wanted to preface that, but let's look at the player, because the player is quite an interesting type of player. His numbers are actually outstanding, to be honest with you. And when we look at them, you will see why. But it's always, as you say, as I always say, should I say, with regards to these podcasts, it's always about finding out more about the player themselves, in the event that we can pick and choose types or little idiosyncrasies or little traits that maybe Aston Villa, through their scouting department, or Unai Emery are looking to sign for this club going forward into the transfer window itself. So, for those of you who don't know who the player is, as I said, he is he's playing for Sporting Clube de Portugal, or Sporting Lisbon, as a lot of people will know them as. That is not what the name of their club is. They just happen to be based in Lisbon. So I've been, and you guys, anybody who watches this podcast will know, I was roundly, how will I put it, told that not to call them Sporting Lisbon previously. So that's why I'm going out of my way to do that. But he's a 22-year-old Uruguayan defensive midfielder. Clocks in anywhere between 5'11" and 6 foot are the heights that I've seen. Joined Sporting in 2021, has played 15 games for them and has not scored a league goal for them yet. But he joined them from Famalicão in the Portuguese league, and he made his debut actually really, really young. He made his debut as a 16-year-old for Phoenix in the Uruguayan league, and he went on to play 53 games for them prior to moving to Portugal and subsequently on to Sporting Clube de Portugal. He's 8 caps for Uruguay as well. As I say, born in Montevideo, he is somebody that has, I suppose, caught the eye very young as a player within Uruguay and moved to European football, as a lot of South Americans do, to the Portuguese league to cut their teeth in European football, and probably will be looking to move on, if not this season, certainly probably the season after, to try and get a big move to a big club, like so many people do when they do move from Portugal, from whether it be from Porto, from Benfica, or from Sporting Clube de Portugal as well. So let's take a little look at him here and see what he brings to the table. So this is what he looks like. I'm not going to I'm not going to sugarcoat it here, but he does look like a mean type of defensive midfielder. Even you just look at him, you look at his face there. I would imagine that you're going to get a snarl out of him more often than not. He does have that dogged ability to be able to break down play. But while he is a defensive midfielder, and while a lot of people will look at him and think he's going to be a person who's going to put his foot in the ball first, he is quite a transitional player from the point of view of progression. He likes to carry the ball forward. He is quite good technically, but the things that jump right off the page for him are his tackling abilities, or his abilities to be able to intercept, and his engine is like you think of John McGinn. John McGinn is a fantastic engine. People can say what they like about John McGinn within this team, but Ugarte's engine is a level above that. He's got like he can run for days and days and days. He's absolutely fantastic. But as I said, he is a defensive midfielder. He's also well developed technically. He's also well developed tactically. He knows how to fit in specifically with this sporting setup under Ruben Amorim, who we've looked at previously. This high press, this high octane type of tactic of setup that they play there as well. This guy is born to press the ball at two levels of the football field, or three levels, I suppose, really, because when he does go forward, he just transitions into terrier mode when he is forward. So his ability to be able to carry the ball into the attacking third as well is quite evident when you look at him too, and we will see that again when we look at some of the statistics that we have for him. But he is, he's a very, very balanced player, is what I'm going to say about him. Really balanced player from what I've seen. I watched 3 of his games there over the last 2 nights. Watched 4 of his games. Sorry, I watched back. I watched oh gosh, it escapes me. I watched 2 games in the league, one against Benfica, one against Porto, because I wanted to see what it was like from that point of view, what it was like from that point of view, playing against the top teams within Portugal. And also then I looked at him playing in the Europa League also as well this season. So what as I said, what I've seen from him is super aggressive without the ball, really gets the team back into shape. There's very much shades of a Claude Makelele type there with him, but with that aggression that you're beginning to see, I suppose, really with defensive midfielders now, almost like that Gattuso like aggression that you would see from a defensive midfielder of his ilk as well. But in possession, he's quite good as well. He likes to help the team build up, but he's got pretty good defensive. Sorry, not pretty good. He's got really good defensive positioning as well. Loves to come into that pivot point. Obviously, plays mostly as a 6 when you're in there. Would be a very, very good accompaniment to Boubacar Kamara or to a Douglas Luiz in there. And I'm not saying that if we sign this guy, he's going to usurp anybody within the team. Obviously, whoever we sign is going to need to come in and complement the team. That's one of the reasons why maybe the 50 to 60 million pound mark for him may be something that maybe hard for Aston Villa fans to believe that we would spend that on somebody to come into a position or into a point in the team where we have 2 very good players at the moment. But we have 2 very good players there at the moment. So, for tactical flexibility, if Unai Emery wants to continue to play this formation going forward, which we don't even know if that is the case, maybe that might be the reason that somebody like this might come in. But he's really good at positioning himself at the base of that anchor, that number 6 position. Really good vision in the pass as well. Very good at playing long balls, mostly out to the flanks, which does suit an Unai Emery type tactic as well. We've seen those long diagonal balls. Ugarte is very good at that as well. His vision is quite good. Look, he's going to miss some passes because he's young. He's 22. He's not an absolute complete stonewall, can't miss player. He's going to miss some passes in that from those points of view. But the fact that he's so young and he's got this comfortability on the ball and he's settled into European football is absolutely great to see as well. So let's take a little look at some of his numbers here, which I think you'll find are very, very eye-opening here. So let's take a little look at him in conjunction with regards to John McGinn, Boubacar Kamara, and Douglas Luiz. Okay, so we're going to start off here firstly. So as I say, he is right-footed there. His current market value is 25 million euros. There is a buyout clause for Ugarte around, I can't remember. I've seen it being mentioned at somewhere between 50 and 60 million. If you are to get him, you're going to need to get up close to that mark. Which, look, as I say, Aston Villa have never spent that money on a player before, so it is something that you do have to bear in mind. But looking at his heat map there, you can see he very much is a side to side, edge of the box to edge of the box player. He's going to be all over the place. It's bright red there. It's scarlet red. He gets around every single blade of grass in that box there. And as we know, Unai Emery does like to play that box midfield, that narrow midfield. This guy can cover across that midfield for you, whether you want to play him if you want to play him in a situation whereby 1-6 takes one half of the field and another 6 takes another half of the field, or if a player goes forward and he minds the house at home, he's going to be able to do that for you. He's really, really good from his positioning point of view, as we can see there. Looking at the radial map that I've done here, tackles wise, he comes in. He's one of the top tacklers in all of Europe for the defensive midfielder position, coming in the 99th percentile, which is absolutely fantastic. And when we see him there, the number that he has doesn't even fit on the page that we have here. It's far above. I actually had to just put it there above where the tackles per 90 is, because it would have jumped off the actual page if I had it there. I need to re-up my graph there as I do them manually. As you'll see there, some of the lines don't join up there. Interceptions wise as well, he comes in right up in the top 99%. So he's in the top percent of all players in Europe at intercepting the ball and at tackling. So when you're looking for a defensive midfielder, this guy gets his foot in there and gets stuck in for sure. Ball recoveries, again, what we can see there, he's right up there as well. He's in the top 99% in ball recoveries in the middle of midfield. So if you're looking for somebody to come in, disrupt, to break up play, to allow you to turn defense into attack, this guy is going to be able to do it. Because when we look at it here as well, we look at the rest of his numbers here. From a passing point of view, he's got a really decent passing percentage at 91.5%. And yes, a lot of those are sideways and short intermediate levels, but he can pick that long pass as well, as I mentioned previously. That long raking pass out to maybe free up a winger, or a wide midfielder, or a striker running into the channels. He can pick out that pass as well. So he has that in his arsenal. But we look for players that want to keep the ball, retain the ball. And how can you start an attack really well? By having somebody who can put their foot in the ball, turn, and pass that off to another player successfully. And he does it 91.5% of the time, which once again puts him in the top 1% of all defensive midfielders in Europe. So I'm painting a picture of somebody who's very, very competent here. And while I understand most of these statistics will be in Portugal, where he's expected to excel, lest we forget he played in European football as well this season too. So he hasn't exactly played against a very low level of competition. So these are decent numbers. And when we look as well, as I mentioned, with regards to his passing and his ability to pass the ball, just look at his progressive passes there. Yes, they come in at the 36th percentile, but when we look at them in comparison to the rest of the players that we have within our team, he's right up there with Boubacar Kamara in how he passes the ball forward. And now we know Boubacar Kamara is good at passing the ball forward. So that's a really interesting one for me. So we're bringing him in here, and he's going, like, if he's able to play at a higher defensive level than some of the players that we have, it allows those other players to maybe move forward, to maybe join in an attack. Maybe it allows Boubacar Kamara to maybe go back in to become a centre half. Maybe we don't need to buy a centre half if we buy this guy. Maybe Boubacar Kamara assimilates back into that centre half position again and becomes a centre half. I don't know. I'm not suggesting that that's the case. I'm just suggesting. Remember, we're trying to find players. We're trying to find types. We're trying to find idiosyncrasies. We're trying to find traits for these players that maybe something that Unai Emery is trying to think of when he is trying to put together this team for the next season. But all in all, I think this guy is pretty decent. I think you would have to admit, even when you look at his dribbling numbers there, he attempts quite a lot of dribbles for a defensive midfielder, 2.7 per game, which puts him in the top 88th percentile in Europe. So he completes an awful lot of dribbles, and he's successful 53% of the time on those, which is quite good. Yes, he gets dispossessed sometimes, but you show me a defensive midfielder or a midfielder that doesn't get dispossessed, and that dispossession statistic is going to be a bit higher because he attempts more dribbles. Now, fortunately, I don't have the statistic as to where he attempts those dribbles, whether they're in the midfield third, But the fact still remains that he is a pretty good dribbler of the ball, so he can't carry that ball out of defence as far as he needs to. And as I mentioned previously, when he does get into that attacking third, looking at his heat map there, and that heat map is only indicative of the areas of the field that he plays in. But when you watch him play, if he gets caught in that attacking third, you watch him press. It's impressive. It really is impressive the way that he gets from player to player to player, gets his head down and turns into a little pit bull when he's in that position as well, while not giving away too many fouls. So, interesting player, really interesting player. As I say, once again, will he sign for Aston Villa? I don't know. Would I like him to sign for Aston Villa? I don't think there's a team in the Premier League who wouldn't like to have this guy on their books, and that is a fact. I think that there isn't a team in the Premier League looking at the statistics and what he's put down on paper, what he's put down on video over the last 2 years, a year and a half since he's been at Sporting. I don't think there's a Premier League team that isn't looking at him and going, well, I wonder what he would look like within our team. Obviously, the type of team that will sign him will like he's going to need some sort of acclimatization, I would imagine, into into the Premier League. Lots of players do, but I think that this guy is a very, very important player. A very, very coveted player, and a player that I think that if Aston Villa were to sign him and the price was right, I think that Unai Emery would be able to find a position for him within this team, because you don't get people with these defensive numbers as often as you think, and as I said, being a good defensive midfielder is very, very pivotal, I think, to Unai Emery's system. And that's not to denigrate the players that we have here already in Boubacar Kamara and Douglas Luiz. Arguably, at the start of the season, Boubacar Kamara was the best player we had in the team, and arguably at the end of the season, we're talking about Douglas Luiz being player of the season. So, it's an interesting one. Paper never refused ink. It could just be all paper talk, as we all know. That is very much a case. It's happened already. That we may be linked with somebody and it may not happen. It has happened already this week. So let's bear that in mind. But a really interesting player. And should he sign for Aston Villa, we will dig into him an awful lot more. But from what I've seen in him, and obviously what the numbers that he's put up, he is a very industrious and a very, very promising player, and somebody I think that will be on the radar of an awful lot of teams within Europe this season. So thanks very much, everybody, for watching. If you are watching this and you haven't, and it's not 9:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 18th of May, 2023, please join us later on for our Liverpool preview. Myself and Paddy will be back with a Liverpool preview. We've also got a small bit of news as well. We want to give you guys. We've got a bit of an announcement for the podcast that we want to make on that tonight. So we'd love to have you join us tonight at 9:30 for our Liverpool preview. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'm also going to come back with a piece on another player that we've been linked with tomorrow, and you guys will be able to catch that as well tomorrow. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It costs you nothing. Give this a thumbs up, and we will talk to you later on. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.